Luckily, DCI John Luther, equipped with his signature gray coat and blood-red tie, is on hand to save the day, finally putting an end to Robey's reign of terror and potentially setting up a budding movie series in the process. A twisted tech genius with dodgy hair and an even dodgier fashion sense, Robey is luring his victims by hijacking their digital footprints and using their deepest, darkest secrets, or as he calls it, their shame, against them. Robey is one of the franchise's creepiest and most sadistic baddies. Not only is he able to properly go toe-to-toe with Luther both physically and mentally, but his vast resources allow him to carry out his crimes on a much grander scale than we're used to seeing. Think a very, very messed up Bond villain. Luckily, DCI John Luther, equipped with his signature gray coat and blood-red tie, is on hand to save the day, finally putting an end to Robey's reign of terror and potentially setting up a budding movie series in the process. Let's take a look at where we find Luther by the end of The Fallen Sun, and where he may be heading next. At the end of Series 5, Luther was arrested by his boss, DSU Martin Schenk, Dermot Crowley, when the gangster George Cornelius passed on evidence of Luther's involvement in the violent feud between him and Alice, Ruth Wilson. While the photo of Luther standing over a dead hitman didn't quite tell the full story, it presumably did blow open the fact that he'd been aiding and abetting a known criminal, and seemed like the smoking gun that would finally send Luther down. At the beginning of The Fallen Sun, we discover that Luther had been investigating the disappearance of a young man who'd been abducted by David Robey during or just before the events of Series 5. At the crime scene, a disguised Robey clocks Luther's handling of the case and, attempting to get the detective off his trail, tells his cronies, "I want his shame." So, while Robey wasn't behind Luther initial arrest, we can assume that his vindictive role in exposing all of Luther's past misdeeds shone a light on a trial that the Met would have rather kept quiet and made Luther's subsequent sentencing a certainty.